Hi everyone, welcome back to another video from this really cute Halloween page that we have been working through. I still haven't really decided what colour to do the walls and floor in this picture, although I need to decide quite quickly or else we might end up in trouble with different colours. But I thought I would just do a few other items first today. I'm actually going to do these little rounded critters that are hanging up here. Now I think they look a little bit like pumpkins. They aren't completely like pumpkins, but I think I'm going to colour them in orange because I just think that might work. They're round, they've got little scary faces. I just think that'll be fun. So I'm just going to grab, they'll probably end up looking quite like these to be honest, but we'll see. So I'm just going to grab some orange. I'm using my Polychromos again today. I'm just trying to sort of remember what I was doing. I'm using the Terracotta to start with. I'm going to put some darker areas on at the bottom. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of where I'm at. It's been a week since I recorded anything on this page and I'm just trying to sort of get my bearings with it really. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting a more solid layer of terracotta along the base and then a bit lighter up towards the sort of more central part of the circular critter. And I'm going to do that around the edge a little bit too. Not so much at the top, I think it's going to be lighter up there, so I'm going to leave that for my next darkest colour. This little chap is a bit tricky. He's got these dots like they're holes. See, I'm thinking here and here and here. This may be carved out if it was a pumpkin. So there might be light shining through, so I'd do them in bright yellow. So this one's got really small holes, so I'm thinking maybe it would be sensible, whoops, my pencil's running away, to, I'm just coming in a bit more, quite far away on me, to grab the yellow colour that I'm going to use for that now, fill those in and then burnish them down so that we can go around them more easily with the orange. So I'm just having a look and choosing my yellow. I think I'm going to use this, the Cadmium yellow. It's a lovely bright colour. I'm actually going to do it on all of them while I've got it out. So these eyes, and I think they make it look a little bit more friendly. I mean, I don't think this one looks scary. I think it looks silly, to be honest. So that's fun. But I'm just going to fill it in as if there's a candle inside, which obviously if there was we would see it. But it's just a bit of fun, you know. I think if we did it black inside, it would look a bit, wouldn't look so fun. I don't think so warm. It might look a little bit scary. I don't want it to be scary. I don't think this book is really scary. It's just fun. So I'm going to try and put down quite a lot of colour in each of these to really sort of burnish it down into the page. You do have to be careful. Don't press mega hard. Just layer it up. If you press too hard, you might go through the paper. This isn't the thickest of papers. It's not really, well, it's quite thin actually. You need to be careful. So I'm going to do inside his mouth, but I think I'm going to do his eyes too. I did think I could do them red and scary like I did on the cauldron, but I think I won't. I'll just fill them in. This one looks much more pumpkin-y because we can see the sort of carving. So that's what made me think perhaps they all are pumpkins. There we go. Okay, we'll pop that to the side and we'll grab back our terracotta and continue with what we were doing. Just making sure you can see. There we go. So down with this guy along the bottom. Just making it a little bit more intense down here. And then fading up a little bit. Like that. And then we'll do the same with the others. I'm just going to sharpen a little bit, it's a bit blunt. Let's get a sharper pencil. Sharper pencils are always easier for most, I say always, most of the time. Most of the time they're better. So yeah, my son's just streaming at the moment on YouTube. And so it's a good time for me to come and record. It's a Saturday, so I've got no workmen in today. It's coming along. It's very exciting. By the time this video comes out, I think it might be finished. But yeah, it's my sister was like this weekend I've got my washing machine and tumble dryer back, which is very useful. Last weekend I had to go to my mum's, do some washing, But my sister's like, oh, haven't you got a cooker or anything? I was like, oh no, I didn't expect us to have it this week. And she said, oh, disappointing. She said, I'd rather have a dishwasher than a washing machine. I'm like, well, actually, washing by hand isn't too bad when you're only warming food up. The plates aren't that greasy or dirty. In the week, it's really easy. There's just like breakfast, so everyone has a cup and a bowl, that's it. And maybe a spoon, obviously. And then lunchtime, I just have a plate and a cup. I don't wash it up. Wait till the evening. It's just my two boys. Sorry, my husband isn't there, so it's not. There's only 3 of us. That's what I was trying to say. And it's dead easy. Just a plate, a bit of cutlery. Cadmium orange now. We're going to go in for a darker orange. I'm going to put quite a bit of this down. I think I want them to look more orangey compared to these berries, which you can't see anymore. I want them to look more orange, so I'll probably use quite a lot of this, as I said, and I may have to deepen it with a different colour, maybe a dark brown or something down here, because it might just cover up that terracotta a bit too much. But I'm trying to sort of put a bit more down near the bottom, but I'm rather liking the colour, so I'm going a little bit overboard. Yeah, so I can cope with washing up a little bit. And my bathroom sink is as high. It's as high as a normal sink. In fact, it's higher than my new kitchen sink's going to be. So it's fine. It's easy enough to do. And it's also got a sort of surface around it, so you can stack everything easily and things like that. It's all fine. I'm being quite patient. I'm not a patient person. I'm thinking I want to leave it quite light here at the top, so I'm just doing it lightly there. Do it a little bit darker here because I'm thinking it might be lighter on the top. As you know, if you've watched much of my videos, I tend to make the items lighter on the top. It's a little bit scruffy, but I'm not going to put too much more on. I'm going to make it tidy up with a lighter colour. No, do the same with this one. So try and make it a little more intense and dark at the bottom and lighter as we go up. But try and make it sort of blend. It's really sunny this afternoon. Went out this morning, it was murky, it'd been raining overnight. Put on a jacket, sort of showerproof jacket, slightly padded. Popped into town with my son, he had an eye test. Absolutely boiling. When I did left it done up though in town, but then it's, if you take it off, no, I undid it but left it on, but of course if you take it off you've got to carry it. I carried my son's Mac for him, which he'd put on because he was hot. I had a big shopping bag. I was happy to help him because I bought him some trainers which he then carried, so that was fine. He needed some new shoes, so it's a really good opportunity to sort of do both things at once because he doesn't like coming into town. I also found this lovely pair of boots in a shop when they had my size, and but he didn't want me to try them on because he was getting bored. Also, I knew there was lots to do here. I had a lot on this morning. I've got all my jobs done now that I can do. I really need to do some cleaning and vacuuming, but I've just got to wipe my nose. Bear with me. But my son's streaming, so I can't run the vacuum cleaner. So, and I couldn't run it until after 2 o'clock anyway, and it's 10 past because we had to leave the silicone in the kitchen around the new worktop to dry for 24 hours. So I'm sure it would have been okay if I'd done it a few hours early, but I decided that I would do it properly, do what they said properly, and leave it. Because the carpenters said they were going to have a good clean and stuff, but they couldn't because the vacuums would make the dust fly around, so they didn't do it. But anyway, I shall have a go, but I've got a busy day tomorrow as well, so I've got to take the children. It's the university open day tomorrow, so we're going to that. My husband's taking my one son who's to one place. They're going to the same, they want to go to the same university, but they'll be at different campuses in different towns, and the talks that they have to attend, which are about their subjects they're studying, are at the same time in different places. Well, not exactly the same time. My one son that I'm going to be with, he has a talk at 11:15 and 1:15, and the other one has one at 12:45, and the places are quite a distance apart, so there's no way we could have done them all at once. So I want to darken these up a bit. The terracotta wasn't dark enough. I'm going to grab the burnt sienna, just put a little bit. I don't want loads. I'm going to just make it darker down here. Like that. Maybe under here, look, because this one's overlapping. So maybe not quite so much on this one, it's a little bit further forward. So yeah, we got quite a lot going on, but this morning got back from town. I had to do some very important jobs. I had to order some new bin bags for my new kitchen bins because they're a different size to the one I've got at the moment. So that was very exciting. I had to order some floor cleaner for my new floor. Again, very exciting. I'm going back to the cadmium orange just to fill in here where it's really messy. And I'm going to go over the top of these dark areas. And what did I have to do after? I didn't do the eyes. Back to the burnt sienna. Whoops, I've just moved you. Oh, and I had to order some chocolate because I'd gone to the sweet shop in town. They didn't have the one I like. I like a chocolada, I think it's called. 100% cacao, no added sugar, chocolate. And they've run out, and I'd been buying the Seed and Bean brand of chocolate instead, and they've run out of that as well. So I just did myself an online order. I prefer to support local business, but they didn't have it, so I didn't have much choice. Now I'm going to grab, what shade? I think this one. This is the cadmium orange. Oh, that was the dark cadmium orange. This is the cadmium orange. And I'm going to do a bit more now. I'm going to try and tidy up a bit, you know, blend together the colours, make it look a little bit neater. Just generally go over everything really with a fairly hard pressure to just blend it. And you can see that it's a bit brighter than the cadmium orange. You can see up here it's a little bit brighter. There we go. And then the same with this one. I'm just going to do the same with all of them really. So I have to say I am really missing cooking. I find cooking, chopping vegetables and things like that almost a meditative thing, stirring pans and things like that. And it gives me time where I have to stop and go and do something where it doesn't take a lot of thought really, and just concentrate perhaps a little bit on that, but also have some time with my own thoughts. And I really miss that. But you know, I'll get there. I also I'm missing healthy food, although we're doing like veg, frozen veg and things like that, so having some, we're not having as much as normally would. And so that's another thing I'm missing. But well, as I say, it'll come together. And we'll get there. I think by next weekend we might be in a much better spot really. My yesterday morning, Friday morning, my carpenter said, oh, we'll have you a fully working kitchen by the end of the day. And I looked at him, I didn't believe him. I know it sounds rude, but there was so much to do. And I said, well, I just need a washing machine. And by the end of the day I had a washing machine and tumble dryer. The oven's been pushed into place and not it's not powered in. There's no electrics in our kitchen, this is the thing. They had no electrician, so none of the sockets work and things like that, so nothing's properly working. The dishwasher hasn't even been put in place actually, because it couldn't be. It was too late when the countertop was fitted and I couldn't push it under in case they dislodged it slightly. It had to set in place. Now you could use a little bit of the yellow that we used for the mouths and the eyes and things. This is the cadmium yellow, to put a little bit on the top just to brighten that top edge if you think it sort of would benefit from looking a little bit lighter than the rest. I'm not really sure how much that's showing up, but I'm going to do a little bit anyway, just to show you. Okay, so there are our little hanging faces. I'm not really sure what they are, but we haven't done his tongue. Now, we could do it any colour. I'm thinking I'd like to do it green. And it sounds a little bit odd, but we've got a lot of greenery going on here, and I just think it'll work. I don't know. Maybe it won't. So we'll try with this green. This is the grass green. I'm going to start light. I think the light will work better, but we'll see. We can always darken it up. I'm not pressing really hard. I'm just putting a little bit on so I can have a look. I just think it's fun. You know, it's Halloween. Why would you do it pink? And what colour tongue does a pumpkin have? Not a question I've asked myself, anybody, or even thought about before. I think it looks like it could be, you know, it's been decorated and they popped a little leaf in there to look like a tongue sort of thing. That was my sort of thought. I'm just keep on colouring this a little bit, make the colour more intense. I don't really want to darken it up. I think it stands out then from these greens over here. So I'm happy with him. And let's move down a little bit to these items, shall we? Now, I was thinking that I might do all the pots like they were terracotta, so all in the same colour. We've obviously got the terracotta out that we used a bit for the orange, and I think it will tone in really nicely with the oranges and browns that we've got going on already. So here is, I'm going to use the terracotta colour. Sorry, I don't know how easy it is for you to see. And we want to make them look a little bit shapely. I think we'll just start off with a layer of terracotta all the way across, and then we'll see where we're at. I'm sort of wishing I'd put on my cardigan. I think it's a little bit chilly, even though it's sunny. Once you start sitting about, it gets chilly. I've been rushing around, yeah, ordering chocolates, so important. So I'm trying to make the outside a little bit darker than the central part, and it makes it look more spherical. It's a little bit tricky on this one, which is such a odd shape because of this lantern being in front. I'm doing my best, and we can do it better on this one. So the idea is that I'm just going to do it all, a little bit all on terracotta, that the edges will be darker and it will make it look more rounded. So here, make this edge and this edge a bit darker. You might want to do this as a bottle, like a glass bottle, but I just saw it as a terracotta pot. Well, there are bottles later that we will do anyway. So I'm going to sort of bring that in like that, make it a bit more rounded. Bring that up. I can hear my tumble dryer. It's funny. It's in a different position now than it was, only slightly. Actually, is it in the same? Yeah, and it seems louder, but it's actually further away, which is most strange. So these two again, terracotta, I'm thinking. So you could use a mix of colour to help you with this shading, but I don't think it's always necessary. I'm going to put a lot of colour there and less towards the centre. The same here, so layer it up here, so I'm trying to get my fingers out of the way for you like that, and leave a bit in the middle. Now we don't want white, a lighter shade, yes, but not white. I'm just going to colour this all in because terracotta is very dull, it's very flat, it's not shiny, so we don't want it to look like it's shining, but by putting it darker and lighter areas it helps to give it that sort of shape and make it look more interesting, I think, but it takes a little bit more time. Okay, and it's up to you. I know some people like doing just popping the colour in the space and not doing trying to worry too much about shading and shadows, and that's fine. It's just that shading is what I really like doing. When I was at school doing art class, shading was a thing that I absolutely got and understood and could do. I I'm still improving all the time, but because I couldn't visualize things in my head, I still can't. It's just not something I can do. I was rubbish if they say, oh, just draw this, draw a flower, draw a girl, draw a blah, I couldn't do it because I couldn't see one. I mean, I could probably draw a girl as from people in my class, but you know, I can't draw from my imagination, I can't visualize. So doing shade and shadow though was easy because you can see things. You could see things in the room and use that to help you think about where the light is in the room and where things are shaded and shadowed, and it just worked. I just was able to do it. But when it came to draw a girl or whatever, no way. I'm going to grab the burnt sienna that we've already used a little and to do the cork. It's quite a dark colour, so I want to use it lightly. The reason I've grabbed it is just because it's on the desk. It's not because it's a brilliant cork colour. It's just what I had. So I'm making it a little bit darker on each side of the cork, a bit lighter in the middle, just to try and make it look a bit more rounded. Oops. Now we have the cutlery that are in these pots. Now I'm thinking we'll do a silvery grey. We've already got some grey down here, so I think it'll work nicely. I'm trying to limit my colour palette, as you may have guessed. It's nice to have lots of colours, but I find that if I use too many colours, I get a bit of a mishy-mashy mess. I don't want that, so I'm trying to limit it a bit. So this is the cold grey 3. If you want to do silver, you need a cold grey. And I'm just looking at the shapes of these different items. We need to leave white if we want it to look silvery. I'm going on the inside here, because if you think about a spoon, how it lies, it's a cup like that, and so it's going to be shadowed down here where it's deeper and brighter around the edge part, and that's how I'm trying to do mine. It's very small, so I'm just filling in that centre bit and then doing a few bits of colour on the edge to make it look like it's sort of catching the light on these areas. The fork, again, I think it needs to start darker a little bit, and just it's a bit tricky, it's so small. I'm basically just colouring in a few random bits and hoping it looks a bit like it's shiny, which is not the best way to do it, but I think it's okay. It's very pale actually. And we have these sort of fire tools, a shovel and a spoon. The shovel I'm assuming for picking up your hot coals, but I'm not really sure about the spoon. Anyway, I'm going to start at the bottom of these curled parts and just take some colour up, but I'm going to leave the top white where it would be catching the light, although it'll probably catch the light from the fire there, but we've got a lantern here, so we're sort of assuming it's catching the light from there. I just try and make it easy and make things look like they're catching the light from the top. So I'm going to colour that in because it's in the middle. Oh, it's a ladle. Now it looks like a ladle. That's better. So I'm going to make that bit darker down there, and hopefully that'll help to make it look more ladly, because ladly is a word, obviously. So we'll pop some colour up there. Again, a bit more in here. Oh, it smells so bad in here. Ugh. I think it's the silicone on the worktop, I'm not sure. The smells in this house are just changing so much. I find that often when I go and clean, it improves it a lot. So I mean, as I say, I am intending on doing that. Just bringing down here so we can do this lantern. I think it's quite fun. I'm going to do it a little bit darker with regards to the grey colour. Oh, my phone's ringing. Cold grey 5. And hold on a minute. Oh, I'm not sure who was on the phone, if someone got it or not, then never mind. So cold grey 5, because it's going to be a little bit darker. I'm going to do the darkest parts first, under here. Like that. I haven't done it very dark. Let's go back in. I want to fade it towards the top of this little piece. Like that. And again on this bit, quite dark here. A bit lighter on the top, and I'm leaving some white because I want it to look silvery. And down here like this. each side, I think, a bit of in the middle. Now let's do the bit at the bottom. I think this would be silver, going around the edge quite dark and then less towards the centre to make it look a little bit rounded. I think it's like a little ball. And I'm thinking here as well, I'm not going to do this all in silver, but I'm just having a look and thinking, and maybe this bit. And I'm thinking also this top umbrella-y bit I'm going to do silvery, so I'm going to probably let's start off darker there and lighten as we go towards here. Do the same here. Go lighter towards the middle like that. There we go. Now I'm thinking about this. Is it a stained glass? I'm going to grab actually the bright yellow that we used for here, and I'm going to do these 3 sections really bright yellow, as if the light is pouring out of those bits. And then I'm thinking maybe we can treat the rest as if it is stained glass sort of pattern, and perhaps we could do purples, because we've got some purple cauldron below. We haven't got any other purple. I'm thinking maybe that will sort of work and tie it up quite well. So I'm going to grab this one. This is number 136. Sorry, it's put it in shop. I'll just find out what it is for you. It is the purple violet. And I'm going to do this bit. I'm just going to colour it in quite solid, I think. So I'm thinking maybe if it's glass, there's light coming through it. Maybe it would all be quite even, like the yellow underneath. Not really sure, just like that. And I think I'm going to do these bits the same. I think we'll do that top bit a darker purple. We'll do it this one. This is 249. This is mauve, I think. Yeah. So I'm going to do these top bits in mauve. Now I am thinking while I'm doing this about my background, wall and floor colour, and I think I need to do it in between videos. It's quite a big area to do, and but I don't worry, I will show you, I'll get you started, and then I'll, because it's too much to do all in one go, I think it'll be a bit boring. I'm going to do a little bit of a darker area underneath this lid, hat, top, I don't know, cover. So it looks like there's a bit of shadow there. There we go. So I'm thinking, I was thinking a sort of beigey brown colour might work well. Of course in Polychromos we don't really have that sort of colour. I'm just looking to see what I do have. I've got the raw umber or a Bistre or a nougat, and I'm just grabbing them so we can have a little look. So they're all the fairly paler browns. This one's really yellowy, it's nice and warm. This one isn't quite so much, and this one is quite different. And I'm wondering whether to use the nougat in the shadowy area, so like in here, yeah, the raw umber on the walls and the Bistre on the floor. I'm going to make a start with you so you can get going, and I'll show you a little bit. Oh. Hang on. Oh, my tin was on my book. Right, so down in this bit here we've got floor under the cauldron that's come right out, or so I'm going to be doing stuff and you can't see. Right, so I'm going to do my floor in Bistre. Okay, here's my Bistre. I'm going to hold it on its side. It's not very sharp, and I am just literally going to go side to side with my pencil and try and get as even a tone as I can and fit it in. Okay, I'm not thinking about light and shade or anything like that at the moment. I'm just thinking about getting down a base of fairly even colour, as even as I can get it. It doesn't matter too much because we can go over it, we can erase bits, we can add other layers, you know, and because I'm doing it quite quickly, it's quite light, which is absolutely fine with me. I thought it might look a bit like dirt, which I was happy with. I thought it might be like a soil floor. I'm going to do a bit here, because here we have our line of wall, so I'm bringing that across and it comes quite high, so all this is floor. And I said I'd do it, I would go away and do it, but actually I've done it. It's quite straightforward. Okay, so now I'm going to grab the raw umber and do the wall. So I'm going to have to, actually I could just move the book down a little bit. There we go. So I'm going to use exactly the same technique. And you can see it's a little bit of a different colour, which was my plan. It looks a little bit darker, but that's not intentional. So all over like this, same direction, as even as you can. Okay, and even in here and up. And I'm going to do over this and over here, all of this, every bit. So everything that is wall is getting done now. So it should be, and because we've got a lot of browns and oranges here, we can go over the top of them a little bit without worrying too much, because it's not going to change the colour too much, so not to worry too much about staying in the lines. You will if you're doing it next to something pale like this yellow here, but generally it's quite straightforward. And this is how to do a background really quickly. Now I realise that getting it even isn't always that easy, and it takes practice, but I never sort of, a bit naughty, I never sort of practice in a sketchbook or on a rough pad of paper, you know, scrap paper. I mean, rough paper is scrap paper in my head. I use them interchangeably. I know it can be a little bit confusing, but it's not a rough textured paper. When I was at school we had what's called a rough book, which was just like a general notebook for scribbling down notes, and that's why I say rough paper, I mean scrap paper. So I don't tend to practice things, I just get on and practice in my book because I want my pictures done, so I just get on. This is the first colouring I've done today actually, it's really nice. I usually would have done loads by now, but having gone out and been doing various things, I haven't been able to do any, so it's nice being able to actually get around to shedding and colouring. I try and get into all those little areas because you may not add any more colour everywhere. In some areas we'll come in and we'll add a little more. In some areas we won't. I'm just trying to work out what's going on there. That's wall, I think. Now we've got this dresser here, and I'm not going to colour that at this point. And here, these are actually in this tree root, because if you think this is the dresser, it's behind here, so this is a bit of a wall here as well, but we don't have to do this the same colour as this main bit, so I'm not going to. What I am going to do is going back in to look at these pieces particularly. I think I might just be able to layer it up a bit. I may not need my other colour. It's going to be darker in here because less light will get in because it's a little alcove. Now I think I'm going to want to do this back bit even darker than that side bit, and I'm just putting down a bit more pressure on my pencil to get a slightly darker look, and then maybe a lighter bit here, but I just want that to be a slightly different colour to the wall. I'll do that again. So basically this is just a second layer of this, but here I'm pushing a little bit harder. I'm still not pressing that hard. The walls are really light. I didn't want them to sort of overtake anything to stand out. I just want them to look like they've got a bit of colour on. There we go. Now you might want to do shadows, like here you could do a shadow behind of each of these. It would make it look more spooky, but it's quite difficult. I'm not going to do that. You could do a shadow on the wall behind these, or some sort of shading around the fire. I'm actually just going to leave it all as is. Now we didn't use the nougat, so I'm just going to put that away, so I don't list it down in my description as something that I've used, because I didn't use it. I think what we'll do is we will do these little alcoves now as well, and then we'll have done the sort of main background bits for you. I think I'll do them the Bistre, and a similar technique to start with, just sideways, sorry, colouring like that. It's going to be a bit more awkward with that plant because we've got more fiddly bits, which is why I'm procrastinating by doing this one. So it's the same technique, we've just got to get in between. Sorry, my paper behind is getting a bit moving a little bit. Now, this is an interesting plant. I'm thinking about what colour to do it as I'm colouring around it. I'm thinking flowers I want orange or purple, just to sort of keep going with the same colour theme that we're using. And leaves, although we've got quite a lot of olive greens over on the other side, I might be tempted to do it more of a bluey green. I think that's a little bit more Halloween-y, a bit more witch-like, but if we're doing the flowers orange, they match the olive greens better, so maybe if we do them purple they'll match the bluey greens. So here we just got to try and make sure we get into every little space with our background colour. I think we're fine. This might be like a terracotta pot, I'm not sure really. Gosh, I'm feeling sleepy. I had a job sleeping last night. But I was a little bit sore, a bit backache, and my son has got a cold and he was sniffing and he wasn't well. So I was worrying about him, even though he hates it when I worry about him. I'm going to go over this bit. Look, it's marked as being darker anyway. I think we can just take that up a little bit. But yeah, he's got a really red nose today from blowing his nose, poor laddie. But he's had a day in anyway. We left him here when we went out. He's not too poorly to leave, and he was happier just not having to make the effort of walking or trudging around town. Actually, it was lucky because we were, I'm just going to try and fade that in now. We actually ended up running late, and he's not the fastest of walkers. So, okay, and here I'm going to do a little bit darker at the bottom here, just like I did on that one. And then just fade it up a little bit like that. And do the same on this side. It's very exciting. I'm sitting here thinking it's the 1st of October today, and I'm getting into my Halloween colouring, having a lot of fun. But Johanna's book comes out next week, and by the time this video goes out, I would already have it. That's exciting, isn't it? I'm going to do this pot. I'm going to use the terracotta again like we did for these, because it looks like the same sort of pot. I've just already noticed a bit of brown that I've missed. I think if we do a little bit more on here, then we can make the next video the last one for this page. And I'm suspecting that I'll be releasing several videos a day at this stage with Johanna's book out. I'm going to make it a bit darker at the bottom, because I'll be wanting to do some things from her book. Now, I've seen her flip through now, and I've already chosen some of the pages that I want to do videos from. So I already know what I might be doing, which is really exciting. I just hope that not everyone chooses to do the same ones, because then you'll have to choose who you follow. That might not be too good. Anyway, right, the flower. I said purple, I think, because if I come out just for a moment for you to see, because we've got a splash of purple here and purple here, and I think if we put purple there, it sort of balances it nicely. So let's come in close. And this is a tip really for you guys, is that when you're colouring and you're not sure what colour to do, I'm going to start with the purple violet and do all the flowers in quite a light layer. Well, not too light, but I'm going to use the mauve to add some details. Yeah, a tip is that although concentrating on just one area like we are now makes the picture less daunting, you do need to take time occasionally to look at how it's working as a whole. Unless it's like a page with a lot of random different things, they don't necessarily need to be connected. But with a page like this where it's a sort of scene, I think it can work nicely if I'm going to just grab the Bistre and fill in that bit of there. I missed there and there. It can be nice to have it sort of some cohesiveness between them. This is the mauve, and how I'm going to use the mauve is on this sort of where the centre of the flower is. Just bring a bit of colour out from there. Oh, I feel like I might be getting... I felt like I had a bit of a cold the other day and I thought it went away. But now I feel like it's coming back. It's that time of year, you know, when the heating goes on and children go back to college or school. It's always something about. I'm just going to blow my nose while I choose my green. Now I think I want quite a dark green. So I'm not going to choose like the emerald. I'm actually going to go for maybe the hooker's green. I think that might work well. Ooh, I had a cold shiver. Hooker's green. Maybe it's all the spooks from this picture. No, I'm actually cold. I might go and grab a cardigan between videos actually. And a cup of tea thinking about it. I can't reboil the kettle, but because my son's streaming and the kettle's in the same room. But I might be able to. I'm gonna do, I'm just sort of doing plain colouring at the minute. Not really thinking about shading or changing colour or anything. I think I'm just gonna make it all quite intense. And then I might use a darker green to bring out some colour. I'm thinking about what colour to do the bottles as well, because I think I don't want to do them all like see-through glass, because I think that's quite difficult for one thing, but also I was thinking maybe if I did them all green, like emerald green, they would look more Halloween-y than just doing them glass, see-through glass. I mean, you could draw potions inside them of all sorts of different colours. I thought if I did them all the same colour, it might look a bit less messy on the page, because I'm at risk of putting in too many colours and making it look a mess, because that's what I sometimes do. So we'll do those in the next video. I need to find my darker green. Here we go. I'm going to use the deep cobalt green because this is still quite a bluey green, and I'm thinking I'm going to go darker at the bottom of each one just to add a little bit of dark, sort of almost shadow. I love the way this one's tilting over like it's dead. It looks quite scary. I'm just going to add a bit of darker green at the tip of each leaf, I think. Yeah. I've also got to decide what colour to colour this sort of sideboard type thing. Piece of furniture, Welsh dresser or whatever it is as well. I'm not really sure. I'm wondering whether to go for manganese violet. If we've got our green bottles, I think it might work. I love manganese violet. That's got nothing to do with my choice. Of course it has got everything to do with my choice. So I'm not sure. I'm going to have a little think about that in between videos. Excuse me. I'm just seeing what we've got left. I think we probably have time in the next video to cover all of that. So let me just come out and show you. We've done a fair bit and I've gone on for quite some time. So there we go. Let's pop it up into shot for you. Can we straighten it? Probably not. I'm rubbish at getting things straight. So there we are. So we've done quite a few things with our little pumpkins and our lantern, the background, these pots here and this one here. And in the last video I've determined to get it all finished. So I'm guessing tomorrow. I'm not sure about my what my schedule is going to be like, but that's my plan, is tomorrow to finish, get it all finished for you. So there we go. So for today, thank you for watching. I hope you're getting into a bit of a Halloween mood. It's quite fun, isn't it? We don't really do Halloween, but it's still fun having a sort of different type of colour palette to use, really. So I'm really enjoying it. But for now, thank you for watching and happy colouring.